and welcome. Today I want to talk to you guys about dating apps in Japan. Let me first take you through the apps, and then I'm going to take you through a few personal warnings and a really funny but serious horror story that I'll tell you at the end of the video that happened to one of my friends. So let's start with the number one suspect. Tinder in Japan, from my experience, is generally used more for hookups than dating. Firstly, you will get some really gross messages from men there, so just be careful. Just distasteful, disrespectful, and just gross stuff that you don't want to hear or see. But then you'll also get the guys who are actually respectful, but they're not looking for anything serious. And one of the things I got asked a lot on Tinder is, do you want to go for a drive? Now, I didn't understand necessarily what that meant or what the logistics of that are. And one of the other ALTs who used to get that line too, she told me she recognized it as boy behavior, but she couldn't tell me exactly what it meant because neither of us had ever agreed to do it. And I found out later from one of my friends that it means, let's go for a drive to a love hotel, because he met a Japanese woman. She said, let's go for a drive. And he was confused and he said, to where? And she wanted to go to a love hotel. So if you're asked if you want to go for a drive in Japan, that's where you're going. And if you're looking for hookups, then by all means use Tinder and just be careful and safe. Now, there are two apps that I think you can use in Japan that are more suitable for long-term dating if that's what you're looking for. The first is Bumble. Bumble has quite a few foreigners on it, so you'll probably see all the ALTs who are single that are on Bumble, and you'll swipe through them first because they're in your area and they're closest to you. And then you'll also find foreigners who are in Japan for other reasons. And then you will also find some Japanese people who are interested in dating foreigners, because Bumble is seen kind of as the app for foreigners in Japan. I've actually met some really great people as friends as well as dates, and I've had some really great dates from Bumble. I think it's a good place to start. The last app that I can tell you about is Pairs. Pairs is a Japanese dating app, and it's in Japanese, so you do need a bit of Japanese language ability to use it. And it's quite a serious app. Most people there are looking for something serious. I don't think anyone on there that I came across was looking for anything casual. It is a paid app for men, so I think that's why you find mainly the serious men are on there, because they're paying for it. Pairs really does operate in a very Japanese way, where you get all the information you need to know upfront, and then you decide if you want to go on a date. So as part of your profile on Pairs, people put in their salary, how much they make a year, their occupation, of course, and their position. They also put their thoughts on marriage, their thoughts on children, and it also has a place to put what's going to happen on the first date, where do you want to go, and who's going to take care of the bill or the check. So I think it's very Japanese in that all of those details are already decided up front, and then you go and you have your date. So if you have the Japanese language ability and you're looking for something serious, I really recommend you go and try out Pairs. I think you'll find someone great there. So something funny about Japanese dating profiles is they usually put a picture of the back of the head, or in all their pictures their faces are blurred out, or there'll be a picture of ramen or a cute cat or something to do with their hobbies. So you don't see a ton of pictures of actual people on dating apps in Japan. Sometimes you may only find out what they look like in person. And then people also tend to really edit their pictures. So I've met a few people that where you can see they're the same person as in the picture, but the picture was just really edited. And some of my guy friends who've dated Japanese women have said the same. People expect you to edit your pictures. I've met people from the apps who say they're surprised that I look better in person than my pictures. They expected that I edited my pictures, so I was going to look worse. I guess that's what they prepared for. That's just something to note. If you want to edit your pictures, I guess it's okay. People are expecting you to edit them. When I got to Japan, I got this warning from foreign women who said that there's a lot, like it happens often enough that foreign women know about it and they warn others. So let me warn you, which is there's quite a few foreign men from other countries who come to Japan specifically because they have a fetish, a creepy fetish for Japanese women. When they end up striking out with Japanese women, then they kind of settle for foreign women. Either they keep you as a placeholder until they find a Japanese woman who's interested in them, or they kind of treat you badly for not being Japanese. So I don't want to shame people. Like there's a difference between having a preference for a certain look and having a fetish for it. And I'm talking about the latter. So I'm talking about those guys who are just really creepy about it. I find generally that people who have that kind of creepy, weird fetish around Japanese women or any type of woman generally are weird and fetishistic and creepy in other aspects of their life. It's very rare that you find someone who's a perfectly well-adjusted, lovely, incredible, charismatic person who also has this one weird aspect of their life. Generally, they're kind of weird in other areas. So just be careful. There are foreign men out there who are dating normally, but they are the weird fetishistic ones that you need to be wary of. And then there's the issue of married people being on the apps that are cheating on their spouses, and they're not going to be upfront with you and tell you. So something I learned from a foreign guy I met on an app, he asked to see my residence card, and I was creeped out about it, why? And then he explained to me that actually when people date foreigners in Japan, they ask to see their card because if you are married to a Japanese person and you're there as a spouse, it'll say that you're there on a spousal visa. So you can cover your other information and just show them what your visa is for. Then they'll know what you're there for. And sometimes you can find married people who are there to cheat, and it'll say that they have a spousal visa, so you can run away from that. And the important thing to keep in mind when dating in Japan is that you can get sued for dating or doing anything with a married person, even if that person lied about being married. So if you meet a married person on a dating app who tells you that they're single, you have no reason to believe that they're not single, and you date them and you are physically intimate and anything else happens, if their spouse finds out and they want to, they can sue you. And under Japanese law, they have a right to be awarded damages for that. So be very careful when you date. Ask a lot of questions, make sure that the person is not married, and don't get yourself into any sort of trouble around that. The Japanese legal system is not very forgiving, honestly. My friend, a guy, I'm not going to give any identifying details about him, but basically he was just a good-looking young guy who came to Japan as an ALT with a company. I'm not going to say who, not yet, but another dispatch company. He was working as an ALT in a number of schools, including a high school. And when he was on Tinder, he found this really cute and adorable Japanese woman who swiped right on him and he swiped right on her. And they went on a date and it was very cute, and at the end of the date they kissed and they went their respective ways. And then when he went to school during the next week, she came up to him and said, "Hello, so-and-so sensei." She was one of his students. And so it turns out that one of his students downloaded Tinder and swiped until she found him and then swiped right on him. And he didn't recognize her. So you may think, how come? But in school, generally, most of the students, especially middle school and high school, I think, people are shy at that age, they all wear masks. So even when I was outside of school, I wouldn't recognize some of my students with their masks off. I mean, we've all been mask fished during the pandemic, right? We know that the top half of someone's face does not tell you what they actually look like without the mask. So he didn't recognize him, and I believe him. I don't think he recognized that student. And anyway, he was so scared. So obviously the student was underage and she had lied about her age. So he was really, really terrified. So he ended up leaving the country. He just quit and left. Eventually he found his way back to Japan, but that's how afraid he was that, she was going to say something and he was going to get arrested or something was going to happen. So just be careful when you're out there. Make sure that you're vetting the people you're meeting. And if you teach at school, look very closely at all of the students and make sure you do not see any of them on Tinder. So that's about it. If you have questions, let me know. Use the right app for what you're looking for, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun dating in Japan. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.